it's interesting. You talk about what's changed is not the technology; it's the information it can actually work off of.
Not so much technology; it's the underlying concepts and algorithms and things like this, like the methodology for a lot of AI and machine learning. It's evolved, but it's not like all of a sudden last year somebody kind of just came across concepts behind deep learning, right? It's been around.
Okay. Well, the reason I raise that is because what that takes you to is you need to start talking about the data or the basis of which is forming the AI. And you and I had a very brief conversation before we jumped on about the concerns associated with that data. Because, for example, if you take public data and you just sort of work through it and you process it, you might be able to re-identify people who were originally de-identified, and this is a valid concern. The EU actually considers that in its policies, but I don't know of another country that actively denounces such. I may say another country or any another country bloc that actively denounces this. What is the current status on getting ethically obtaining data, ethically processing data? Is there anything out there that talks about what data scientists should and shouldn't do it? Is there anything we should be holding data scientists to?
Again, that's it's loaded. There's so much in there, and I certainly don't want to project my world and what we do to every industry and every region or whatever. So I'll focus on healthcare, public health, pharma world. That's what we, patient data, things like this, where we know, there's definitely a regulatory angle, there's a compliance angle, there's a reporting angle. In our world of pharma, as example, for developing drugs and whatever, there's all this documentation, 21 CFR 11 and everything else that's fed into the FDA and all of that, right? And certainly preserving patients' privacy and not putting data in a place where it could be kind of reverse engineered or de-engineered to reveal personal information is huge, right? I mean, you and I spent quite a bit of time working on projects where we, took, the DISC industry standards and wrote algorithms to take personally identifiable data and create, ranges for ages and conditions and this, that, the other, so that data could be used in studies, right? So, but I think with AI and again, going back to unlimited storage, unlimited processing power, and now almost unlimited training data sets, which is like the critical thing for accurate and responsive machine learning, is very, very, very possible to reverse it. And not only is it possible, it's already happening, in many different pockets. And so I think to your question though, is about what can we do about it? I think what we, going back to healthcare, I think two kind of very, very important things are always in my mind when I'm talking to clients, around data and how do you get it, where do you get it from, how do you transform it, how do you then do aggregation and things like this to then use it and maybe at a population level. One is data quality itself. Like, is the data reliable? And can you ascertain where it came from? Like, is there authenticity in the data, right? And that area is where we firmly believe we can use public network cryptography to using proven cryptography that's been around for a long time. So we say blockchain, distributed ledger technology, but it's not just that. It's really the larger cryptography space. Use that to essentially in an automated way, behind the scenes, prove that the chain of custody of data. Where did it start? Who touched what when? Were they supposed to? And then what was the changes? What were the deltas? That's been around, it's doable, but now you could do it cheaply, you could do it behind the scenes. So that's the first use case, is around data quality and assurance of data integrity. Second thing is around data sharing, right? So, okay, you have great data, but in our world, that's not enough. I mean, certainly healthcare, all data is pretty much siloed everywhere. And you need to share data with other researchers, with hospital networks and physicians and the FDA, you name it, all kinds of different entities. So you need to be able to share it. And then kind of gets in this area of ethical collaboration, ethical sharing, ethical access to data. So both of those are use cases that I think we have to be really aware of. And again, to me, when it comes to like the sharing angle, that's where we get into like, for instance, secure APIs, interoperability, following standards around like data, kind of data sharing protocols, doing encryption on the wire, and encryption transport and things like this, but also again using technologies like blockchain and other kind of cryptographic technologies to basically show that as you hand off one data from one place to another, that is privacy preserved. That somebody hasn't added like a little bit of Trojan horse, additional data bytes for tracking data. That the consent of the original data owner, such as a patient, is being preserved. That if the patient didn't consent for you as a researcher to use it, that the data isn't used. That the anonymization and aggregation methodologies meet FDA compliance. All that falls into the data sharing thing. And in fact, just recently I've been working with a couple of public health agencies, federal and state, very much on those two areas. And we're making the case that, look, there is modern, pervasive, very, very secure and kind of provable cryptography that you can basically run behind the scenes. Imagine it as like plumbing, right? It just runs. You don't worry about it. You don't have to have patients or physicians getting to log into something to do it. It just happens, but all that allows you to have much more assurance on data quality and how it's being shared. So that's kind of the way I look at it in this kind of context. I think, these are the kind of advents that to me allow us to have some more, control isn't the right word, but at least provenance and traceability and show chain of custody of this information in the face of very, very sophisticated ways in which data could be manipulated, by people who maybe, are nefarious or have reasons to manipulate data.